Hey, fellow INFJ folk, just mentioned INFJ, and I've been thinking about something through my sleep. If that's a real thing, you know it is. The INFJs go through deep meditation or deep thought processes while they sleep. That's a question. I think so because I've been thinking about this thought or thinking about something I have an issue with. Like if I could change one thing with people who are trying to do good things or talk about good things, is this term, and it's a cop out. I really believe it's a cop out. And I don't know if I really use it. I don't think I've used it, but I know it's been used on me. And it's a cop out. And I shared that feeling on Facebook today because people used it. And that term is agree to disagree. And why is that a cop? Why? Like, do you believe, how do you feel about agree to disagree? Do you feel like it's a cop out? It's a negative thing? They try to make the excuse that it's a good way to avoid arguments or frustrations between friends and family. And I think, in particular, they're talking about politics, but also I've heard that constantly when I was working in a nonviolence field and working to end sexual assault and sexual violence. It's the same thing, but because my issue was bringing a light to males that are sexually assaulted, and also the transgender and the LGBT community, because a lot of the focus was on the female, because the females have really grown in not being so voiceless. And my perspective was always like, well, the perpetrators have been perpetrated on, which means that's why they became the perpetrators, right? And I think of it all around as well. But when in discussion and people cop out and they're like, well, let's agree to disagree, because I was talking about what I call the liberation of men. It's liberating when you're able to tell the way that you've looked upon the world and society and the way it made you feel, and how hard it is to withhold all of this hurt and trauma, and to never have a space to voice the way that you feel. And I always use like my father. My father sexually assaulted his kids before I came around. Anyway, no one ever really looked at like what happened to him. And because he was bounced around from foster home to foster home, every foster mother that he was with, or most of the foster mothers that he was with, sexually assaulted him. And so it built this ideology that female are bad, and it has to be through some sort of sexual form and forced, and it's the perpetrator who was perpetrated on. And until we can address that and work on that, sexual assault will not be decreased. Yes, people will speak out. Yes, that's great. But you're not able to affect the main population, because they will grow into be perpetrators, because they're taught that what happened to them has to be accepted, and they're bad people. It's just all these things growing up, or growing and hearing these messages in that movement that I couldn't agree with, because they're shaming those who have thoughts and trying to avoid them from becoming actions. And I don't know, there's a whole bunch about it. But then every time when I would get into these discussions and telling them, because it was what I was doing. I was talking to males and boys and finding their stories, and I was bringing these stories to the main group, and I'm like, you're talking about a good 50 to 60% of males being perpetrated on, and a good portion of them are done. It comes through female perpetration, because there's no fathers there. Anyway, so all of that, then everything was always, well, no, let's agree to disagree. I was like, how can you disagree on the facts and what's going on with the community? Agreeing to disagree is a cop-out. That's what I feel, and I always feel, because you're not really trying to understand the human experience. Like, okay, I see that, but I don't want to understand it, and I don't want to understand it. I'm not even going to try to. And I get that people aren't there, but I think that's an easily promoted cop-out. Oh, just agree to disagree. But there's reasons why people feel the way that they feel through the experiences that they've had in their life. Like, even with politics in that particular conversation, it's like, how can you disregard and discredit the reason why people feel that the way they feel and why they vote the way that they vote? Because they're having needs being met and their wellness is heightened. How can you tell them that I disagree with you? Because that's the whole thing about presidency and all this politics, is like, you're never going to get a consensus of everybody having a better life. All the way is by you making it a better life, right? That's by pushing yourself and having these opportunities. And like, it's diminishing to other people who have experienced what they've experienced and who've tried what they've tried. I don't know, that's just what I'm thinking. That's what I feel like deep down, like that's not a good thing, and they promote it as being a good thing. All right, just agree to disagree. That's okay. That's not okay. You're avoiding the human experience and the understanding of what they've gone through and why. I guess that's just an INFJ thing, because so often we're misunderstood. So I always seek to understand. Like, on a political thing, I may fall one way or the other on things, but I particularly try and stay intermediate, because I want to understand their reasoning and their reasoning. And if my needs are met somewhere in between, then my needs are being met, and I shouldn't be shamed or wronged for having that, right? And that's just, so yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I don't know, leave some comments down below. Tell me how this resonates with you and what you feel and what you think about agree to disagree. Let's not agree to disagree. Let's just share what we think about it. That's what I slept on and thought on. Alright, I share with you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your authenticity. This is Comanche the INFJ. Live long and prosper. Alright. Okay. Have a good day.